Well, viewers, those are the headlines and our top focus. What's happening in the Middle East? Gaza Health Ministry has stated that the death toll from Israel's war has now surpassed 70,000. Meanwhile, the ministry has also noted that since the ceasefire took effect on the 10th of October, over 350 Palestinians had been killed by Israeli forces. The Gaza Health Ministry has stated that the Palestinian death toll is now at 70,100. The ministry operates under the Hamas-run government and is staffed by medical professionals and maintains detailed records viewed as generally reliable by the international community. This grim milestone comes as Israel continues to launch attacks despite US-brokered ceasefire with Hamas that came into effect last month. Both sides are now trading accusations of ceasefire violations even as fragile peace continues to hold. This is the latest that we're tracking on the broadcast as far as what's taking place is concerned. But in the meantime, we've also learned that there have been 4 terror operatives that have been neutralized. They emerged from tunnels in southern Gaza Strip. The operatives were spotted emerging from the tunnels in eastern Rafah, to be specific. But up until now, we are getting the latest statistics as far as the death toll is concerned. Speaking about the hostage deal that was inked under the first phase as well, we've learned that the remains of 26 of the 28 dead hostages have been returned, but 2 are still yet to be returned. Up until now, we do know that some of the families of the hostages are still holding on to their hopes. We've seen protests and demonstrations take place in Tel Aviv as well earlier, where the families of the hostages have maintained that it's all for one, one for all, and they're all standing in solidarity with each other at the moment. But as of now, we're also getting updates from Gaza itself that the death toll has surpassed 70,000 ever since the war began on the 7th of October 2023 after the terror attack in Israel. Meanwhile, the first phase, as I stated earlier, it's been implemented. The final elements of the first phase are yet to be fulfilled at the moment, but more or less the deal is mostly done and dusted. There was also a UN Security Council resolution that was adopted unanimously. We saw China and Russia not exercising their veto, although they did abstain. It was 13 of the members of the UNSC that had given their assent to the particular resolution that was put forth by the United States with regards to the Trump administration's peace plan. It, of course, also chalks out the second phase, which calls for the disarmament of Hamas. With us on the broadcast is Mr. Yossi Cooper-Wasser, Israeli intelligence and security expert, joining us from Tel Aviv. Thank you so much for taking our time and speaking to us on NewsX World. We're tracking the latest statistics that have been released by the Gaza Health Ministry. We've also tracked protests that are currently underway in Tel Aviv. The families of the hostages whose remains have not yet been returned are out on the streets calling for the government to ensure that the obligations that were in fact chalked out under the first phase are met. I wanted to understand from you with regards to the obligations not being met in its entirety up until now, with 2 bodies still remaining to be returned. Some analysts point out that it's a tactic by Hamas to sort of delay the inevitable, that is the implementation of the second phase that has been agreed upon by the United Nations Security Council as far as the disarmament of the terror group is concerned. What are your views on this?
Well, good morning. I think that clearly there's a need for the first phase to be completed, and that all the bodies that are missing are going to be returned to their families. And we are missing 2 bodies, as you said, and one of them is an Israeli and one of them is Thailandian, and both of them have to be returned. And then we should be able to talk about the second phase. And Hamas is not rushing into the second phase because they worry that in the second phase there's going to be a lot of pressure on them to disarm, because the entire implementation of the second phase is dependent on the disarmament of Hamas. And they don't want to see that happening, and that's why they delay the return of the bodies. Still, we believe that they do have the capability to find them, to locate them, and to bring them back. But we'll see. And the implementation of the second phase is important for both sides. It's important for Hamas because Hamas and the Palestinians even more than Hamas itself, because this is the phase in which reconstruction is going to begin. And
Yes.
winter is coming, and everybody's worried what's going to happen during the winter time. And if reconstruction doesn't begin, the situation is going to be problematic. And on the other hand, Israel wants to see the implementation of the second phase going forward as well, because Israel believes that this is going to bring about the disarmament of Hamas. Either they lay down their arms, or there's going to be a military action in order to deprive them from their arms. We'll see what's going to happen, and this is going to change the situation in Gaza entirely.
All right, sir, requesting you to stay on with us. We're tracking some very crucial updates coming in at the moment. We're now